Thank you for tuning in to the Art of Grace podcast, where God is creating a better you. I'm your host, Farra. Today's special guest is Ria Clark of Tulips Blooms, an organization that is geared towards supporting women who are breast cancer survivors. Listen, Ria's story is filled with grace, strength, and passion. You don't want to miss this episode. Listen in. Hey, welcome to another episode of Art of Grace podcast. I'm your host, Farra, coming to you with another amazing episode. I am so happy tonight to be out here on this Wednesday night with my dear friend, Mrs. Ria Clark. Can I tell you, we are in a beautiful location.
Yes, we are.
I so appreciate you setting this up. This is in the historic district of Kissimmee, and this place is called The Vault. It is beautiful, ladies. Can I tell you, you will love it. So I'm so happy. It feels so good in here.
Nice,
so calm, so quaint, so warm. And so I'm so happy to be recording here with her tonight. And can I tell you, I'm going to read Mrs. Ria's bio to you. A lot of you all who are watching already know who she is. And I'm going to share with you what she means to me. So I want to read her bio first because I was reading it earlier today and it really blessed me. So Mrs. Ria D. Clark is a Sanford native and graduate of Seminole High School. Upon graduation, she attended Prince George Community College in Maryland before transferring to Howard University, where she pursued studies in physical therapy. In December of 2017, Ria was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. After many rounds of chemotherapy, today she celebrates 4 years cancer-free. Is it 4 years or 5 years now?
It's going on 6 years.
It's going on 6 years. So this is a little bit of an older bio, but that's okay. As a survivor, she strives to turn her worst nightmare into a purpose. Ria is a wellness coach, breast cancer advocate, branding consultant, event planner, author, influencer, motivational speaker, the founder of Tulips, a breast cancer support group, and CEO of Wine and Conversation, a nonprofit wellness group that empowers women. The organization is also designed to lead men and women into conversations that reinforce healthy relationships. She serves as a CEO and founder for Tulips Blooms, Inc. Tulips is a nonprofit organization that will focus on breast cancer survivors and caregivers dealing with life after cancer to assist once they are cancer-free. Ria is also a member of the board of directors for Wow Power, Women Empowering Women, Fresh Starts, She Was Me, and Mrs. Corporate America. Realizing every day is a God-given gift, Ria celebrates daily with her amazing husband, Clark-Newman, 2 handsome sons, Quentin and Jalen, 2 beautiful bonus daughters, Lorena, Brandy, and 7 amazing grandkids. 7. Oh my Lord. Ria's first mantra is, with God on your side, I am alive and I will fight to live my best life every day. Welcome my special guest with me, Mrs. Ria Clark.
Thank you.
Ria.
Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate this opportunity. I really do.
Can I tell you, Ria, it feels like I've known you like 50 million years.
I know, right?
50 million, 11 million years, okay?
Yes.
Ria, I don't even know how to sum you up. I don't want to make her cry, but I met her actually in this area because she had an event here a couple of months ago.
Yes.
And Mrs. Anika Allen was here, which I love. You know, she's a friendship consultant,
Yes.
a 5-star friendships. And when I came in, your warmth, before I even came to your event, just speaking to you through text message.
Yes. I remember.
You were so welcoming, so warm. I felt like I knew you. You were giving just through that. And one thing I'm going to tell you about Ria is that she's a giver. Despite what she went through, despite what she's going through, despite all that's on her shoulders, you are a giver and servant leader before anything.
Thank you.
You are a warrior. She doesn't mind sharing her story. A lot of people don't want to share their story.
They don't.
You know, and so she's helping to save so many women, empower women. When I was at your event a few weeks ago, the sneaker ball, there was a woman there who didn't want to share her story. And I thought about, wow, look at the person who brought this person in here. She doesn't want to share her story. And that's okay.
Yep.
But you don't mind sharing your story.
Not at all.
And so we want to talk about that tonight.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Let's jump into it. Now, for one, okay, we're going to do another podcast episode on something totally different. She's a Sanford native.
Yes.
Sanford girl.
Yes.
Went all the way up to Howard University and came all the way back down the road. Now, you know what happened with that?
I just wanted to come back home. I just wanted the opportunity to say that I went somewhere. Yeah. But I did. But my dad was in the military.
Okay.
So he was based in DC.
Okay.
So once my parents divorced, he stayed in DC area. They call it Chocolate City.
Got it.
And my mom came back home because they're both from Sanford, but my mom came back home. So that's how I ended up coming back.
Okay.
But when I graduated, I knew I wanted to leave and explore. And
spread your wings.
Yeah, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go off to college. Yeah. I wanted to live like Different World. Remember that show, The Different World?
Yes. You know what? That put HBCUs on the map.
Yeah, right. That made you want to go to college. I was like, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to meet me some good girlfriends. And I'm going to just be Whitney or be somebody. Oh my God. So that's kind of what I wanted. I always was a person who wanted to leave anyway. And just go and see what was out there. Mm-hmm. And then once I've done that, I had my 2 boys and I went through some life experiences, good and bad. Yeah. And then I just decided to come back home because my mom came back and then my dad came back. So I was like, well, I'll just come home.
So your family did transition back to the South. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I like what you just said. You said you dealt with life, the good and the bad. And that's what I mean about Ria is that you didn't say it was all good, right? But you had your 2 sons. You came back. You have family, and I'm laughing at you because you said you went there to try and make some good girlfriends. Can I tell you, you have an amazing girlfriend group.
Oh, I do.
I love the ladies. I don't want to say all of them by name, but Xavier, I love her. My goodness, we just connected here, and all the ladies, they love you. You can feel that love. They want to serve in what you're doing in Tulips Bloom, and we're going to talk about how you started Tulips Bloom.
Right.
I mean, what a name.
Right.
And I love your mantra, and you know what you do. I'm gonna let her do it.
It's okay.
I'm gonna point to her and let her do it.
Tulips. That's how.
Listen, you want to her women, and you're gonna hear that. I promise you. Yes. And so, share with how Tulips Bloom started.
Well, the way Tulips Bloom started was because, of course, I found that I was a breast cancer survivor, and one of the things that I noticed going through the journey after was support groups.
Yes.
There are support groups. I won't knock any support groups, but I would just say there wasn't one for me.
Okay.
Because when it comes to support, that wasn't the issue for me.
Okay.
So when I would go to different support groups, it was for people who didn't have support. It was for people who went through really hard times going through their journey. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't my story.
Yeah.
Mine was more for mental.
Okay.
Because once I went through that journey, I was afraid, what if this comes back and it actually kills me?
Got it.
So that was what I was struggling with. Like, is this going to come back? Okay. You hear the stories that people are like 3 and 4 and 5 time, breast cancer survivors. So I was like, I need to figure out how to deal with my mental. How do I keep moving? How do I go on? And when I was dealing with when I would go to those different support groups, they weren't giving me that.
Got it.
So I met a couple of people. I would still go to different networking events because I was determined to figure out what I needed to do for my mental health.
Yes.
But then what I started doing was a group. Like we did a group and we just would all talk about different things we were experiencing, what were they doing from mental health, from eating, our skin, just different things like our health and what are you doing? Your skin changes because when you do chemo, a lot of stuff changes. Even people who do radiation.
Okay.
So I wanted to know what vitamins you were taking. Was there any preventative measures that we can take or whatever? Because with stage 3, I had stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma, which was triple negative. Now the triple negative piece is mainly what African American or minority women get that.
Okay.
And there's no preventative measures for that. There's no pills. There's no.
You're hearing this, ladies. I'm so glad that she's sharing this. I've sat with you a handful of times and have learned more about this than anything, and it's not scaring me. It's just getting me to be aware. And your story is so amazing. I've never met your husband in person, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. And we're going to get to that because it is so amazing. The support that you said you had, but the piece that was missing was that mental health piece. And, I love that you shared that, right? Because mental health can have something to do with that. Right. And that's something that we kind of steer away from. And I hate to say this, African American women, because it's just this nonsense that we grew up on. You know what I mean? And so, but you said, I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah, because I I'm genuinely a bubbly person, and I'm genuinely a talkative person. Like, you'll tell my friends and say, "Oh, she talks so much," and I do, because that's therapy for me of getting things off my chest.
Yes.
And when I was going through that mental piece, I was getting the support and the love when I was going through it.
Mm-hmm.
But what people fail to realize, when they say you're cancer free, the phone calls stop.
Got it.
The gifts stop. Everybody thinks you're fine.
Yeah.
So now you're happy you made it, but now you're like, what in the world just happened to me? I had 3 surgeries. I did chemo. My hair fell out. Mm-hmm. Like, whoa, what did I just happen? Because when you find out you have cancer, and depending on what stage it is, they're moving. Yeah. You have to move. You have to do the operation. Yeah. You know, they're starting to schedule all your appointments and your scans and everything. So you're just trying to live. You're just trying to do whatever they say. You're just trying to go through it. Yeah. But once you're done and you're sitting in the room and all the, smoke clears and you just sitting there, you like, what just happened?
Yeah, what just happened to me?
What just happened to me? Did I really remove my breast? You're looking in the mirror, you have no breast, you just like cuts and bruises and stuff that'll never go away, that you are there as a reminder, and you're like, what in the world I'm gonna do with all of this? Yeah. How I'm gonna function and move on with this new normal that I'm experiencing. Yeah. And that was the struggle for me. That was mentally hard for me.
I can't imagine that. I mean, you haven't shared this piece. I've never heard that part of it, the mental piece, the looking at my body, what's happening here. I'm cancer free, right? But yet I'm not free in some senses.
Right. I'm not free. And I feel, they call it survival remorse. Okay. Because you're happy you're alive, and you hear the stories that people, I have beautiful women that I've met along this journey that have passed away. That's another thing. Now you're dealing with death a little more than usual. Yeah. And then you're gaining these beautiful friendships with people, because, when you go through things in life and you run across people who have similarity stories and journeys, you tend to form bonds with those people. Absolutely. And it's not that you don't appreciate your support system, like my best friends and my husband and my mom and dad and everybody who actually was there with me from day one to now. Yeah. But I still needed someone to know what I was feeling. They didn't have cancer, I did. Yeah. So you start building this community with these women who can relate to you, but not knowing some of them do die. So you build these friendships with people, and
there's that survivor's remorse.
Yeah, so you're like, Lord, why I'm still here, and these beautiful people who had wives and children and had a beautiful life they were ready to go back to, now they're not here. Yeah. So what did that mean for me? Yeah. And that's how Tulips was born. I was like, I would never let another woman who's going through a breast cancer journey go through it alone. Yeah. And I mean, by choice, if they want to, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I always let them know this is a platform for us that we want you to be a part of.
So how'd you come up with the name Tulips Bloom?
Well, Tulips was, I met this lady a long time ago, and I've been trying to get her to come. I've been trying to reach out to her because I want her to come, but we met. I used to be a part of Compassionate Hearts and Hands with Vanessa Eccles. Okay. That's how I kind of got into, she was one of the very first groups that I went to where they didn't really necessarily help people after cancer, but what she did was I just see how she turned like frowns into smiles, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like, she would make people, because what people don't realize, when you're going through breast cancer, you still have bills. Yes. Some of us couldn't work. Yeah. Some of us weren't fortunate enough to have short-term disabilities. Yeah. That's stuff.
Because it's like it's not a surprise for someone. When it's a surprise to you, you're not thinking, I'm going to need this. And this is why we have to consider the insurance piece.
Yes,
because so many of us we wait until we're sick, and it's too late. It's too late. I mean, because you were young. How old were you when you found out?
I found out when I was 43.
Got it. I mean, that's young.
Yeah, but by the grace of God, I had stuff in place. Yes. Excuse me. Yes. I had stuff in place, so I had the short-term disability. Okay. I still got a percentage of my check. I still had insurance, so I was able to get the chemo and able to get the scans, and all of that is expensive. If you don't have it, even with the policy that I had, I still had to come out of pocket, and that can range from $300 to $1,000 just to get a PET scan, or a sonogram or ultrasound or, all the different things you have to, go through to identify. It's so many reasons why you have to take those, scans and stuff for them to be able to totally identify what the issue is so they can make sure that they cure that.
And so I can imagine there's a lot of women that probably go through avoiding going to the doctor because they say they can't afford the copay. So I'm going to skip my mammogram this year. Or, hey, we think we see something and, well, how much is it? Because that's usually the first question. Right? I know that we are very insurance driven in this, in the nation right now.
Yes. And that's why it's so important to have programs like what I have and look, it's hard. It's been very hard running Tulips because people don't really understand the passion that we have behind this organization for those reasons, trying to make sure when you find out you have cancer, we want to show you, we want to tell you what places provide free, mammograms. Like Advent Health, they have programs. See, a lot of these programs and resources, a lot of people don't know. But why would they know? Because they didn't know they would get cancer. You know what I'm saying? But we want to be able to have a place for them to come back, even though we do life after. Still come to us and say, hey, I found out I have breast cancer. How do I start? Because whether we were life after cancer or not, we know where to start.
Exactly.
And we just want to keep it going. We don't want you to just think that nobody understands what you're going through once the journey is done.
So back to Tulips, because you said you met this young lady, but then because there was nothing for you out there, you felt that was for you, unique to you. So now Tulips, it's like, okay, there's nothing in the earth right now for what I want. I'm going to have to create it.
And that's me.
Yes.
When I need something for me, it's always, people think I'm doing this for me, for just to kind of just have something going on. No, I learn from the people that come into this circle.
Got it.
I learn things from them. So it's for me. It's for me and my mental health. So Tulips is a resilient flower. It's a hard flower to kill. And even when you try to, it comes back stronger than ever. Even though when it slowly dies, once you give it some water and some food, it come back and it's vibrant and it's pretty. It's not a flower that's easily that you can kill.
Do you hear this, everybody? Now, I have purchased tulips before and just dumped the whole thing in the garbage, but it's going to come back. And that's where you got this that resiliency.
That resilience and that strength. That we have to have something to keep us wanting to go on those days when we're hurting, because there's so many side effects to chemo. So when you're hurting, you got to want to keep going and keep doing things. So when you think of Tulips, I want you to think these women are resilient. They're strong. They done been through a lot. We've been through a war. Our bodies have been cut on. We've been under machines. We've been have poison put inside of us to keep us alive. So these women, and now they're out here and they're trying to help people. And they're doing it in their time. Everybody's not me, and I had to learn that. Everybody don't want to tell their story. Everybody don't want to talk about it. And I respect that. But I let them know I want this to be a place for you to come to start your journey and do whatever it is you want to do.
What was some of the hardest things that you went through this journey? What was one of the hardest days, maybe, or the hardest moments?
When I'm in pain. That's the hardest for me. One of the big major side effects that I have from chemo is joints pain.
So you still have joint pain,
and they can be very hard on me, and it flares up mainly when I'm doing too much. So when I have events and when I have different.
Well, I just read over your whole bio, and you a whole bunch of events in one. But it's because you love.
That's what keeps me going. That's what helps me. Like everybody has something they do that makes them happy. That's what makes me happy. But I do have learning to start to listen to my body when I can't go.
Got it.
When I feel that achiness coming, then I'm like, okay, well, you got to slow down.
You got to slow down.
So those are the hard times when I want to do something and I can't.
So you do have a point where you can't.
I can't. Like I can't walk. Like I'm just like even getting out the bed, I'm counting 5 times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and stand up.
I look distracted because there's a mirror behind Ria, and this mirror is so beautiful, and it says, "Character, be true to your word, your friends, and yourself." So as you're talking about this, my eyes just glanced over there and saw that. Because you have to be true to yourself, because we need you here, Ria.
And I want to be here.
Because I haven't experienced what you've experienced, and I can't minister that to someone, but you can. What's one of the best, I'm sure it's a trillion stories you can share, but what is something that happened to you maybe recently or maybe even during that journey that just was something that you remember that just was the best?
When I was struggling with why me. When I was struggling with why me, like, God, why are you putting me through this? Like, and I say this to make people laugh, but I'm like, I've donated to the breast cancer stuff. I've been a part of stuff. Like, why me?
Yeah.
And I would say that all the time because I just felt like in life, I have to struggle and fight for everything.
Yeah.
Like anything that I want, nothing is easily ever given to me. I have to fight. I got to go through something. It's just, it's like, what in the world? Why I got to keep going through all this? Like, now I just went through this and this and this. Now cancer. Like, yo, give me a break.
Yeah.
So finally, I was sitting in my car one day, and I had just got the phone with one of my best friends, Kateria, and she prayed for me through the whole time. I mean, when this girl prayed for me, it was nothing for her to call me and just pray for me. And I was sitting in my car, and I was looking out the window, and I had an aha moment.
Okay.
And I was like, why not you? God is giving you something else to talk about.
Yeah.
You're already a motivational speaker.
Yes.
You already know what you need to do. And I think when you go through this, you will come out better than ever.
Yeah.
And it did.
It did.
Now I know that cancer was necessary for me. I had to go through that journey.
So, Ria just shared about her why not me. I mean, I don't know what your story is today, ladies who are watching. And maybe it's not cancer, maybe it's your job, maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your children. And look in the mirror tonight and just say, why not me? Right? Because God hears that. I mean, he hears us as his daughters, right? And so I know that he heard you in that moment. And that was your driving force.
Yeah. He said, why not you? And my best friend even told me that even in the midst of me going through it and just confining in them and just so angry. Yeah. Like I was so angry, like everything I was fearing when it came to medical, I was dealing with. Like I hated, oh my God, everybody laugh about that darn machine, that MRI machine. I swear that's the devil.
Oh my God.
They would have to talk me through that. Girl, I ran away from the machine 2 or 3 times and they had to reschedule my appointment. Girl, I cannot stand that machine. Gosh. And the MRI machine was like, I had to face that fear. Yeah. Then I hated needles, but I was always being stuck with needles and I always had to give blood and I still do. And it's just so many things that I was afraid of when it came to like medical that I had to face because I had no choice.
No choice whatsoever.
Getting all that poison, like nobody can tell you that experience of chemo than a person who went through chemo when you can feel it. Like as soon as that stuff has started being pumped in your in your port, I just could feel it all through my body. And I would have to sit there for hours, like for a couple of hours. And I had what they call 2 cocktails.
Okay.
So I would have to do 1 cocktail where I would have to sit there for like 2 hours, maybe 3. And then the second one was they would take 5 syringes full of medicine and just stick it in my port one at a time. Wow. And I could feel it going straight to my head. And I would just sit there to the point my mom would be like, why do you have to give it to her like that? Why you can't give it to her one at a time?
Because mothers, it don't matter the age. We want to know, what did you give to my child?
Yes. And she would be like, why are you giving that to her, all of that at one time? Yeah. And then one time my sister came and she was like, she went and talked to him because she is medical field. So she was like, y'all can't keep giving it to her like that. Why y'all giving that to her so heavily? Yeah. And I would be so sick. And I just remember those days. And I'm just like, I don't wish that on anybody. I promise you I don't.
Well, I tell you, I came to your sneaker ball and to see the women in the room, to sit at the table with the survivors' families. I was sitting, I don't remember who the young lady was, but I was sitting at the table with her sister, and then she was up there speaking. And to just those two, I can't remember what her name was, but they were so close that it's like they could feel each other. Yes. And to sit and talk to her. So I think I have her sister on a live video talking about it. And it's beautiful that she had that support. Yeah. And you guys are just survivors. And just amazing.
We have to be.
Yeah.
So now in this part of my life, I tell people I got a second chance. Yeah. So I try to do as much as I can now. Yes. Instead of procrastinating and thinking I got time. See, that's where we're getting confused, is that we think we have a lot of time, and none of us know when our last day on earth will be. So we take advantage of that.
Because you did have family in the room that had lost family members that came to your event that shared about that. And that's so sweet that they were able to come through their pain and their grief to still come and share and thank you for what you're doing. Is everybody getting something good out of this? I mean, I just sat here tonight and just got, why not you, right? I'm going to write that down, which is amazing. And we don't know how much time we have.
We don't
know how much time we have. So I want you to stick with us. We're going to take a quick break as Ria comes to you with the message regarding Tulip Blooms.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ria Clark-Newman. I am the CEO and founder of Tulips Blooms Incorporated. We have been doing this since 2017. Just wanted to give you a little bit of information in case you wanted me to speak, host, or just talk about life after cancer. I am a breast cancer survivor of 6 years. You can reach me at Tulips Blooms. I'm on the social media networks, Facebook, TikTok, also Instagram. And you can just go to www.tulipsblooms.org, and you can also reach us from there. If you would like to be an ambassador, if you'd like to be a member, you do not have to be a breast cancer survivor to be a part of this organization, because I know this cancer or any type of cancer has touched all families. If you don't know someone or been around someone, everybody knows someone who's been touched by this horrible disease. So please come on with us, come on board. You can be an ambassador, you can be a member, and just be a part of Tulips Blooms. Thank you so much for your time. You have a great evening.
Hey everybody, thank you for sticking around with us and just enjoyed that message from Ria Clark. Listen, reach out to her because she put all of her information there. So Ria, so after all of this was said and done, you decided to write a book.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Well, it was so funny because a couple of jobs that I had before now, I was like, I always wanted to write a book.
Okay.
And I was like, but I'm not a writer. Like, I'm not really good with grammar and punctuation. And I was like, so, I started looking into it and not realizing they edit for you.
Yes.
And then, so just different things. So that's what I mean by I'm starting to learn to, instead of thinking that I can't do something, just to research it and kind of see.
Yep.
And so I did. So one day I was sitting at work and we were very slow. And I wrote my book in 2 days.
Wow.
And the book is called There's a Message in Your Mess.
I love it.
And I love that title for me was because, like I told you before, I always felt like everything, I had to go through everything.
Yeah.
Like when they say that 1 in 6 person, I felt like I was always that 6th person. I just felt like my life was a big, like I just had to go through everything.
Yeah, it's like you were walking out there stepping on mines.
Yeah.
But yet you're still alive.
Yeah. But I'm still going through. I got to just go through so much.
Yeah.
And so I said, but in all, I'm learning now what all is that meaning for me. And that's why I said there's a message in everything that I've been through.
Yeah.
It's all connecting for me.
Yeah.
And I thank God that He gave me the discernment to start noticing it and seeing it down to my kids, down to where I am in life, down to the move back home. Like, when I was going through the journey, it was like connecting the dots. Like, had I had cancer in DC, I had a lot of great friends and sisters that I had in DC, but it was nothing like those friends and those families that came and rallied around me and would come to my house. And I remember one time I had my girlfriends came over, Letitia, Lakeisha, Xavier, Kateri, and Katrina came to my house with seafood. And we all sat. They came in my little place, and everybody found a spot, and they opened it, and we just sat there, and they just got me seafood, and we just sat there and had a good time. And that's what we tend to do for each other. Yeah. No matter what we're going through, we rally around each other, no questions asked, and we just jump in and help.
Yeah.
So I felt like all of that was connecting. So I'm like, it's time to write my book.
It's time. In 2 days, it was all there in you.
I mean, chapters. I had the name chapters.
Yeah.
Everything. And the reason why I wanted to write the book, because now I'm wondering about why I'm this way. So I want to go back to my childhood. What I've learned and what I learned about writing in that journey my parents' divorce really affected me.
Wow.
And I didn't realize how much it affected me until I wrote the book.
Yes. Yeah.
So I tell people writing brings up and brings out things that you maybe need to address to maybe be able to move forward.
So with you writing the book, did you put anything in there personal about your
family? Oh, yeah.
And did you tell them beforehand, like, you know, hey, let me let you know that this is going to be in the book? And did they embrace that?
Yes. And I was mindful.
Yes. Yeah.
I was very, I was really very careful of the thin line.
Got it.
And then I made sure, even when I said things about people, I didn't use their names.
Got it. Okay.
So I would base it and still put my feelings in it. So I gave you a taste of them, but then I put in why I was this way.
What did your book do for you?
Freed me.
It freed you. Yeah.
Because I put things in there that nobody knew about me. I put things in there that I was ashamed of.
Got it.
So I would tell, when people be like, oh girl, well, how many things is it? I'd be like, oh, I only had 2 or whatever. But I was able to not live.
To just say it.
I just said whatever I wanted to say. I mean, and people embraced it. He was like, Ria.
All that fear that you thought, you know, oh, I'm going to be judged. Or this
yes,
you know,
yes, because there's an expectation of you.
Yeah.
You know, we go through that in life. There is an expectation of us, whether we like it or not. You know, our parents, like who our parents are. We got a representation of our parents.
Yeah.
You know, and then we have parents that may be in, you know, like in leadership.
Yeah.
And, you know, that affects them, you know, they, you know, so we, you know, it's just different things. That when you're going through life and you're making these decisions, and what I try to tell my children, it does affect your decisions. Sometimes do affect the people around you.
Yeah, you know, I'm so glad you just said your children, because I was just thinking this, because we discussed, like, you know, you getting cancer, you surviving, what you had to go through. Let's speak to the caregivers, the ones who nobody talks about.
And that's another portion of Tulips, the caregivers, because I wanted to make sure that my husband was healthy.
Yeah.
I made sure my children understood my journey.
Yeah.
And they came around and they understood it. And I was honest with them that this is something that can kill me.
Yeah.
You know, but here's what I want from you, and here's what I, you know, will do. So my kids were very supportive. Nice. All my kids were supportive. My family was supportive. But I wanted to make sure that this wouldn't affect them as they got older.
I was going to ask you, how do you think it changed all of these people around you?
They have more, I think they're more appreciative of life, number one.
Yeah.
And I think they treat people better.
Okay.
Like my kids. Like, I'm going to share soon with my kids, like, when I would, you know, I talk to my kids like they're my best friends. So when I go through something in life, they're so encouraging. Like when they send me messages of encouragement and different things they say, I thank God that I was able to instill that in them.
I love that.
So when things happen, they'll be prepared to know how to encourage and be that support system for them. And when I send them something and I say, you know, mom lost her job or this and that. Oh, mom, you're resilient, mom. You'll get it. I don't have no doubt. And then when I tell them, you know, I got the job, I got what I wanted, you know, they're like, oh, mom, we knew it. Like, we knew it. We had no doubt. Now you're doing something that you love. And just to hear your children encourage you,
oh, it's beautiful.
That's a beautiful thing for me, because no matter what anybody says, I know I've done the right thing with my boys. So.
You know, I don't want to forget to also mention, a lot of people don't talk about the doctors and the nurses that help them.
Oh my God, I have a list.
I mean, because I have a son who went through a traumatic situation with getting a kidney. My husband's waiting for a kidney currently. And the biggest thing for me was the team of doctors and nurses that were like family.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because they're with you for months and years.
Yes, yeah. And my doctors, I love every last one of them.
Yeah.
Now,
thank you so much for your service, all the doctors and nurses, and for all of you who do that job, caregivers, the family. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Dr. Mayo, James Mayo, we still talk. I gave him a copy of my book. Dr. Thomas Cotter. Okay. He's my oncologist.
Okay.
And then Dr. Mayo was the one who actually did the reconstruction.
Got it.
And then Dr. Dr. Saeed is my actual family doctor.
Okay.
And he's the one who was the one that told me I had cancer and had to start, telling me who all. And
I mean, that's a hard job because they're a part of that emotional piece of sharing with you. And they have to do it, right, so that you can live.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't think about this when we think about our doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, they're therapists. I mean, they're all these different things to us, family and confidants and all of this. And so I like to highlight doctors.
Oh, me too. I do. And and that's what I love about Facebook. Like when you go back in your memories, and I took pictures with them.
I saw some of your pictures.
And my doctors, Dr. Thomas Carter, he made me feel comfortable with everything because, like, when I tell people, I'm such a person that I'm a visual person.
Okay.
So, like, when I would, where people would be like, oh my gosh, she's so deep. Like, but it is like, well, it's not that serious. But for me, it is like, just like when I would write, I remember when I had to go to chemo and I just kept seeing cancer. Like, I was just seeing cancer in all the buildings. And I'm like, dang, this is really my life. Like, I'm really going to be going here taking chemo.
Yeah.
And, I'm just a visual person. But when I got there, and then you go in the, you go in the room where all the people are sitting and you see all the people on the machines. And I was like, oh my God.
You were in your early 40s.
Yeah. And I'm like, darn, is my kids going to be okay? You just start thinking about life and who's going to take care of me, who's going to take care of my kids and my parents. Both my parents are still alive. So, I don't want to have them have to bury a child.
Yeah.
So you just think of all that stuff, and that's why I said mental for me.
Yeah. I
think too deep, and I'm, I can look at this pod, and I have 100 reasons why this pod is not working, or not working in my life, or I'm just such a deep thinker, and that's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
So and that's why I said for me it was mental.
Okay.
Because it really, really played a lot on my mental state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thank God for Tulips Bloom. So what are we going to be expecting to see from you in the next 2 to 5 years?
Oh, God, hoping to have my own facility.
Oh, wow.
Where the caregivers can come and relax while their loved ones has chemo and have different activities and retreats and get more into I want to do more like genetic testing, and clinical trials, and learning more about our history, so we can prepare for the generation to be aware of what they may be accessible to, whether it's breast cancer, whether it's being able to now have it be a part of your checkup. Because that's not a part of your checkup. Your checkup, they check your blood, but they're not checking for a lot of these diseases.
But a lot of us, we don't share information. Well, a lot of us don't go to the doctor, and then those questions are on the paperwork and it's skipped over, right?
Yeah.
No. But we haven't asked our family members any questions.
No.
Or, no one's sharing their medical history.
And I think that's what we have to do going forward.
Yeah.
With our, like I said, we have grandkids and we have children that they need to know what their history is. So when they go in these doctors, I think, I'm not saying nobody's ever going to get anything.
Yeah.
But at least you're aware.
Yeah.
At least you'll start knowing. At least you'll have the questions. Hey, my mom had breast cancer. Is that something I need to be worried about? Yeah. Or do my child need to be worried about that? So I want people to start being more aware of their health and what's their status.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of see in the next 5 years. Is starting to have more workshops and seminars.
I'm going to tell you what I see in the next 5 years, because recently myself, Ria, and Rachel Mashad did a collaboration together. We did a presidential watch night, which is just the beginning for us getting involved in local politics. Because if she needs to find out about genetic testing, how can she get funding, to help these other women? What's out there for us in our community? We have to have our voices, and we have to be in these rooms.
Yes, because it's more than breast cancer. We have heart disease. We have heart disease. We have diabetes. We want to start looking at all of these different things so people can start preparing, down to food choices, what we should be eating. So a lot of the things about tulips, we do have a workshop the third Saturday of each month that we talk about different topics within that journey, like how we eat, our skin care, are we getting tested for certain things, weight loss, a lot of times our health can contribute to diseases.
Yeah.
So what are we doing now to not have? So now my purpose is, what do I do now to keep it from coming back?
Got it. Okay. But you're not in fear about it.
No, not anymore.
You have so much love, and you have so much love to give. One thing about Ria is Ria works the pink. Ria works the blonde hair.
Yes.
Okay. I love that about her. But I want you to share about the facility that we're in right now. This beautiful space.
Yes.
Because I want to share who let us use this space tonight.
Well, it's so amazing. Her Jackie, she is the new mayor of Kissimmee. So she won just this past
I had an opportunity to meet her here at your event.
Yeah, so Jackie is over the vault, the chandelier room. It's a old time feel.
Yes.
It's a nice little, it's tucked away. It's beautiful historical. Area. It's a beautiful area. And Jackie Valdez, she is over all of this. And she always supports Tulips. I can call her and say, hey, we need this, we need that. And she's like, come on. Now, it is in Kissimmee, but that's okay. We have to start, venturing out and finding different places. This is such a hidden gem.
It really is.
And it's a beautiful place. So she let Farra and I come here and film. And so I really appreciate her. So if you get a chance, if you're in the Kissimmee area, please come check it out. 19 Broadway, down here in downtown Kissimmee.
It's beautiful.
And it's beautiful here. So they do weddings, events, all kinds of events here. So please make sure you stop by and say hi to Jackie and go to her social media web pages as well.
And listen, I'm going to actually post about Jackie on my Facebook, because last week, Jackie, I happened to see one of your vans with your face on it. And I thought that you were in this event space that I was at, and it was some of your workers. And so I got some pictures with them. And I wanted to tell you personally from the bottom of my heart, congratulations on being the new mayor of Kissimmee. And so, Ria, where can these viewers find you? Because she's got some good stuff about to come up.
Yes, we do.
We share everything, not yet. But where can they find you?
They definitely can find me on all social media platforms, whether it's Tulips Blooms or Ria D. Clark-Newman. I am newly married. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. I'm so excited. And that's pretty much, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook,
you can find
TikTok,
me my page.
You can find me on page. You can find me online. If you need any assistance for breast cancer, any information, if you want speaking engagements, anything, you can reach out to any of those platforms.
Yes, please reach out to Ria. I want to give a shout out to somebody who I actually met Ria through. I met Ria actually over a year ago at a cancer event, and I recognized her face when I came to your event. Venice White. From my Black Girls Run sister. I want to say hello to you and happy belated birthday, because you just celebrated a birthday.
Yes, she did.
And Venice works for the Department of Health, right? In Stanford. So we love you, Venice. Happy belated birthday.
Yes.
You're amazing. And you were a big bridge for women to come into that event, for you guys to share about cancer.
Yes.
And breast cancer.
Yeah, she's one of she was on the board.
Yes.
She's one of our board.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. And she also sits on the board for REEI through the city of Sanford. I mean, she's just a wealth of information, a wealth of love.
Yes.
And she's one of my Black Girls Run sisters. We're everywhere. You can find us. Lake Mary Swad and Black Girls Run Bokeh Beauties. So I just want to give a shout out to my ladies tonight. Ria, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wednesday night. This was such a beautiful, time with you. I loved it. I learned so much.
Thank you.
It was very rich, and I can't wait to see you again for the next event.
Yes.
So listen, everybody, don't forget to reach out to Ria on her platforms. I will have them posted. This will be on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Do not forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. I want to hear from you, but please subscribe to my page. Thank you for all those who've been subscribing and making comments on the page. I appreciate you. And there's so many more women that want to come on here and share their stories, and we're going to be highlighting some amazing people. But tonight's episode was for Ria D. Clark of Tulips Blooms. So look, until next time, your number one Grace girl, make sure that you subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hey, did you just enjoy this episode with Ria Clark of Tulip Blooms? What an amazing story of resilience. Listen, check her out on all of her platforms. They'll be in the description box. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. We want to hear from you. Until next time.